What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Report. Today I'm bringing you an anime review of ACCA 13, Episode 2. And yeah, it was said multiple times throughout this episode that the correct way to say it is ACCA 13. You know, people were kind of confused if it was ACCA 13 or ACCA 13. It's actually ACCA. And something else that was really cool in this episode, we see that the map that the 13 districts are made of is actually in the shape of an ACCA bird. And the logo for the inspectors and the company is an ACCA bird too. So that's pretty cool. But overall, this was a very enjoyable episode. I liked episode 1, so I liked episode 2 even better because now we're starting to get our feet wet as far as what's going on in this series and what it's about. And it indeed looks like the main plot point of this series is somebody staging a coup within the 13 districts, and I'm pretty sure that it's heart of it is probably within the 5 chief officers. So Grosslar is aware that a coup is being staged now that he's been told by Director General Mave, that young lady that we met at the end of the last episode. And her purpose of going around and doing her own investigations was to try to find out more information about this, report back what they found. But Grosslar doesn't believe that a coup is actually happening because it's been so much peace for so many years, and that just doesn't seem right. It just seems like this guy is probably pulling the strings all along. But we also get some much needed history in this episode, as well as we found out the origin of ACCA 13 and the inspectors. You see, way back with, it's the current king who is 100 years old, and his father, back during his time, there were 13 different districts, and all of them got together to stage a coup to basically overtake him. So in order to stop the coup d'etat, he was able to get with each one of the districts, get them to come to an agreement, a peaceful agreement, and that's how the 13 districts were split up. He basically said, you know what, each one of you will be responsible for your own area, and then you know you have ACCA 13 that watches all of them. So that's how we got the origin of this federation or a corporation or whatever you want to call them, or these investigators. But something that is really interesting is that now on the 100th birthday of the king, we get another rumbling of a coup happening. It's almost like history is beginning to repeat itself. But what's going to be more fun is trying to find out where it's coming from. I mean, of course, it seems obvious that the coup is being staged between some people within these 5 chief officers, definitely one or more. But where is it coming from altogether? What's the purpose of it? That's the type of things that's going to be fun to find out in this series. And that's the type of things I'm looking forward to. I said that if you stick with this series, it's something deep inside that's going to make you keep coming back for more. And it is this intrigue that's pretty much drawing me in and making this such an enjoyable series right now. But as of right now, all focus is on Gene, as Grosslar is actually very suspicious of him because he has said that he wants to stop being an investigator. He hates his job, but he don't have a formal request. Like, they're saying they don't have a formal letter of request that he wants to transfer, and they're beginning to think that he's using his audits to go around and try to connect with coup d'etat sympathizers. And then you got the whole arson thing that he's possibly being set up on. Things just don't look good for Gene right now. So what they did is they decided to have them pull back a little bit on investigating everybody else and focus on him directly. And what they decided to do was bring in a super secret, undercover, unknown person that's going to follow Gene and gather intel and report it back to him. And that's when things really get fun with this episode. This particular agent that they sent out is named Crow, and no one knows of his existence except the 5 chief officers. And we also got to know that rookie that was investigating and trying to set up Gene from last episode. His name is Raw, and basically he stole Gene's lighter. He's trying to set him up for the arsons that's going on around the city. But we found out a little bit of dirt about him too, because he may not be that bad of a guy, because cigarettes are very luxurious in this world that we're in with this story. The tax rate on them are super high, and that's why they're such a high commodity in the black market. In fact, he goes out on beats, and on one of his beats, he actually took out like a kid. He was going to arrest a kid, or he stopped a kid who had a bag full of cigarettes, but he let the kid go because he seen he was just a child. He's probably just doing what he needs to do to survive, and he let him go. So that shows a little sliver of goodness in this person, and we finally found out why he resents Gene so much is because he just hates rich people. Like, Gene already rubs people the wrong way by openly smoking cigarettes just in open, and we found out last week that people that do that are people of high society. So I pointed out last week that Gene probably knew who stole his lighter, and he does confront Raul right away by saying, I know what you're up to, but you know what? My job is to be an auditor. I look up people, I investigate people for a living. So here's the rundown. Yeah, you're a rookie. You're very good. You have a very high arrest rate, but you got some dirt on your hands, bro, because not only are you cracking down on people, you're taking some of the pie for yourself. You're taking these cigs and selling them on the black market too. As we find out that Gene has resentment for rich people in general, not just Raul has resentment for rich people in general, not just Gene, because he actually applied to be a member of ACCA 13. However, he says somebody with a lot of money and a lot of power sabotaged his way to the top. So for there, he just wants to stick it to the rich people, and Gene was the type of person that he wants to take out. But they were able to come to a compromise because Gene was like, look, I'm not as rich as you think. I don't get as paid as much as you think. And dude, I'm just a landlord. I'm not high society. I'm a regular guy just like you. So that kind of smoothed things over with him a little bit. But I think what was more important was Gene was like, look, technically this isn't my jurisdiction. So I really can't do anything to you, but I can still report you and get you in trouble. So how about this? Give me back my lighter, stop following me around, and I won't shed your dirt. And then now knowing that Gene isn't as bad as a person as he probably thinks he is, that kind of settled the air with him a little bit. There's also a thing that he has a crush on Gene's sister as well. So there's that. The bigger focus of this episode was an individual by the name of Nino, who is a longtime friend of Gene. They've known each other for like 30 years, and he is a private eye / reporter. And Gene says that someone's been following me, so I want to hire you to find out who that person was. Now, this is where things get really good, because remember I said that the 5 chief officers hired someone to investigate Gene? It's a little predictable, but there it is, that it was actually his friend Nino who is investigating them. He is Crow. He is working for ACCA 13, so imagine that. This is where things is going to get juicy. This is where things are going to get really good, because now you have to question, is he going to go ahead and go through with his mission and be the downfall of his best friend, pretty much as we saw in the flashback, or is he going to take his friend's side and help Gene get to the bottom of this over then? But there's also something I want to back up and talk about as well, because remember in episode 1, they said that Gene is called the cigarette peddler, and we saw somebody ask him for a cigarette and he had a very sly look, which kind of blows things out in the water. I mean, that would be surprising if Gene actually is staging a coup. Imagine that. That would be freaking awesome. And also something really random, but is it just me or does the food look like really good in this series? I mean, like really good. Like, oh my god, that cake and pies and stuff and the burgers that they're eating in this series, man, I mean, I've never seen animated food look that good. But the fact that they're focusing on it so much, maybe it's looking too far into it, but maybe food has something to do with everything overall, like maybe smuggling or something. I know that's far-fetched, but the fact that they focus on food so much from like the opening and just seeing multiple people saying, hey, we're gonna get food from this place, we're gonna get food from that place, it has to be some type of significance, or at least that would be kind of cool or unexpected, I guess. And also with Mavi as well, she seemed kind of uncomfortable with what the officers are doing as far as trying to get this investigation on Gene and to pull back the investigations overall. It just seems like she doesn't really agree with what they're doing, and she meets up with Gene and actually asks him out on a date at the end of the episode. So I think at the very least he has an ally in her, and they're probably going to work together to try to do some things. But I think right now the ball is definitely in Crow or Nino's court as far as what side he's going to choose. Is he going to help his friend or is he going to hurt his friend? And most importantly, this is only going to be like 12 episodes, so do we have enough time to actually wrap this up nicely? Because it's not exactly episodic, even though we are dealing with something different each episode. Things are still tying together, so it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. And I think in retrospect, or not even retrospect, I think in the future maybe, or when this is all over, I think this type of series will be better received once it gets a dub, because it can get really info dumpy. It's already slow paced, and it's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to pay attention to. I can tell by the way that this series is going that there's going to be things that matter later that you didn't think about or may have missed, like the whole thing with Gene being called the cigarette peddler to begin with. I mean, is this guy really selling cigarettes on the side? Why does he have that name, or why did they call it that at the beginning of episode 1? So that was the episode in a nutshell. Guys, let me know what you thought about this series. Are you still watching it? Are you going to give it one more episode? Does it excite you as much as it excites me? Because I love mystery and intrigue things like this. So I'm looking forward to see where it's going. Definitely going to do episode 3, and then we'll decide where we're going to go from there. But I got a feeling I'm going to stick with this, as well as Onihei. I feel the same about both of these series, so I'm going to go ahead and get up out here, guys. Let me know what you thought of the episode. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop it a like. If you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as there's not a shortage of content for you to indulge on this channel. And as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. And I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.